All right, we're back. Continue our discussion about Camp Daybreak. We've been talking with Dan Osman and also Floyd Nease. So where does the name Camp Daybreak come from?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I would imagine someone was sitting on their porch in the morning.
We script out the whole show. We script out these questions. Yeah. Obviously, our guests get all the questions ahead of time.
I wasn't alive then.
All right, here's another question. How come I've never heard of this before?
Well, that's also a great question. You know, like we mentioned before, the position of anyone at Camp Daybreak has always been part-time. And so the focus on Camp Daybreak was meeting the needs for that year, for that upcoming camp session, to fundraise for that camp session. And, you know, we were working in a system where we had to get funding and get campers and get staff for the upcoming session. Now that we have a full-time employee, we have the flexibility of looking beyond that session and looking toward, you know, what are our 10-year goals?
Right.
You know, where do we want to be 5 years from now?
Second week, for example, maybe.
Yeah,
something like
a second session. We've been toying with the idea of doing a winter weekend during a school vacation potentially,
okay,
which would be great. You know, this year is the first year. In my
Floyd can start chopping wood right now.
Right, exactly. That's what we're doing this afternoon, actually. Yeah. Actually, you know, one of the great things about this year for me was in the 7 years? I think it's been 7 years that I've been director of Camp Daybreak. This was the first year that we had to actively turn people away, campers and volunteers, because the numbers were so large.
Wow.
You know, one of the challenges of renting a site is that you're constricted by the physical space of that site. And so the 30 campers and the 55 volunteers is indicative of how many beds we have.
Right.
And nothing else. I mean, if we could make it 100 campers, we would.
Kind of like this studio here.
Right, yeah. right. We could have 6 more people in here, but it'd be a little tight.
Yeah.
Beyond the 30 kids and beyond the 55 staff, we would be just bursting at the seams at the camp that we're currently at. So our hope is to keep fundraising, to keep doing outreach, and build a financial system that's sustainable, that can maybe in a couple of years, maybe next year, look to a second session or some sort of other opportunity for kids, because certainly the need is there.
You know, I don't know enough about how camps run, but I'm a little struck by how. Why is it $2,000 a camper because of all the food and because there's so much support going on? I'm a little puzzled by that.
Sure. Well, there's a number of expenses. You know, you're talking about
insurance,
food, rental. You know, we pay,
breathing seems to cost money.
Right, the air that's there. You know, but we also it pays for the salaries of the small paid staff that come. You know, there are just all of these different expenses. And you know, the $200 is a number that we've worked on over the last couple of years. It used to be $180, and I bumped it up when I became director to $200. But one of the things also that we have to think about when we fundraise is that the population that we're working with doesn't always have the $200 to send a kid to camp. And so one of the things that I'm proud that we've always said is that we've never turned kids away based on money. You know, we ask for whatever the school system, whatever the family can give, and we do our best to cover the rest of that.
Good for you. Yeah. All right, before I let you guys go, I just want to ask one question about sort of the larger mental health arena here in which we all live, particularly right down the street here. So, Floyd, I'm going to have you answer this question. The legislature seemed to have broken what I would call the Gordian knot of closing this facility down the road here in Waterbury. Tell me your reaction to that.
Well, it's amazing that Irene did in one night what legislatures and governors couldn't do over 20 years. But, you know, one of the things I think that's important to note is that crisis that started on August 28th continues today. You know, the new facilities that are designed in the legislation that passed and the governor signed, those facilities are just now being built. They're just now coming, you know, they're not online yet. So we still have people who are having acute crises in inappropriate settings. They're being cared for as well as possible in those settings, but some of them are just, you know, these things need to get up and running quickly. So I came out of the session really proud of the legislature for the work they did on this. There's very thoughtful work. They had honest debates about how big a new facility ought to be. They really looked at practices around the country. And we're very fortunate. We have a commissioner in Patrick Flood who is all about getting things done. And when he sees a barrier, it's something to problem solve around and get on with. It's really, we're in good hands right now. There are going to be some bumps in the road as things develop. There's going to be a discussion about what is the most appropriate site, for instance, for the hospital, it's the choice right now is between two sites in Berlin. One is next to the medical center, and one is off in a beautiful field. It's my perspective that the days of asylums, the days of putting people away, taking them away, instead of getting them integrated health care, are over, and that building really needs to go next to the medical center.
Stay tuned, as they say.
Yes.
Thank you both for coming in. And again, it's campdaybreak.com. Okay, beautiful. And let's mega donations today. All right, we're going to take a break here for news. Coming up next, we're going to talk about an interesting program as well. We'll do that right after we check the news. We'll get a report from our White House crew as well. Keep your dial right here. This is FM 96.1 WDEV Warren, broadcasting from the top of Sugarbush. In Barrie and Montpelier, try us at 96.5 in your dial. 101.9 in the Kingdom, and AM 550 WDEV. Waterbury Montpelier news is coming your way next.